Mario, the Mickey Mouse of the gaming world. His story began as an unnamed protagonist battling who's now confirmed to be Cranky Kong to save the original princess and Paulina. But after Donkey Kong's popularity grew, the Jumpman's name and profession was switched to the icon and plumber we know today. Fast forward to 1985, and Super Mario Bros. Is released and transformed the gaming world as we know it. Over the next 11 years, Mario games would continue to be pumped out across the NES and SNES. But once 1996 hit, the Mario franchise would again revolutionize the gaming world with the release of Mario 64. I believe Nintendo may be the only company in present day that is truly always looking ahead by constantly innovating its franchises. I grew up to witness the rise and fall of many beloved franchises such as the fan favorite Assassin's Creed, which went strong for a long while before seemingly losing its identity. I won't sit here and tell you the newer games are bad, but they don't bring on the excitement and memorable characters that Brotherhood and Black Flag did. This downfall of popular franchises continued with Halo. Once Bungie handed the mantle to 343, the franchise began to also lose its identity, which is unfortunate because Halo was the catalyst for competitive multiplayer gaming. They recaptured the Halo feel with Infinite, but it was too late to keep players around since they chose to release an unfinished game, and this seems to be the case with many titles released in modern day, who value profit significantly more than the quality that they're producing. But one company that you can always count on to give you the full experience up front is, of course, Nintendo. They hold many video game stars that each carry a portfolio of memorable titles dating back to the 80s. But instead of copy-pasting one game to the next for profit, each character brings a new experience with each new game. Now to bring it back to 1996 when Super Mario 64 was released as the first 3D console game ever. So after already having a multitude of popular games, what could possibly top the original 3D platformer? Mario Sunshine took the franchise in a new direction by adding the mechanical companion, Flood. You now had a whole new method of platforming outside of the traditional running and jumping. Mario Sunshine also added a story element to the franchise and plenty of lively characters to interact with. If I continue down the line, I can see that every core 3D Mario game that followed Sunshine introduced something fresh for the franchise. And unlike many of the franchises I mentioned earlier, it continued to evolve without ever losing its identity. Mario Galaxy had you quite literally running around the galaxy, while despite not ever getting a chance to play Mario Galaxy 2, I'm aware that many enjoyed this sequel more than the original. However, I can't speak on what I didn't play. 3D World was unfortunately released during the dark times of Nintendo, but it was basically the epitome of what a 2D Mario game would look like if it was in a 3D space, as it was full of familiar enemies and power-ups, while the original 3D Mario chose to go in a more sandboxy direction void of any mushrooms or fire flowers. And this takes us to the franchise's most recent mainline release. Mario Odyssey is what I believe to be the vision of what Mario 64 was supposed to be, a collection of unique, semi-open worlds full of secrets, enemies, and the occasional boss. No Mario game has felt as adventurous as Odyssey. Each kingdom is full of its own cast of characters along with a little pamphlet to read about the lore, and Mario games are definitely not known for the lore. The reason that it's most comparable to 64 is that you can find the stars or moons in any order besides the mainline story ones. I know that's not completely accurate depending on the world, but you have the ability to explore the full worlds at almost any given point. Obviously, Odyssey has a lot more secrets to find, but my biggest criticism with the game is the lack of reward for discovering a lot of the moons, and this is why it began to feel more like an unfulfilling collectathon at times rather than the traditional episodic missions from Sunshine and Galaxy. I'm not one to say that this design choice is better than the other, but I'd like to point out that the most up-to-date mainline Mario release was the re-release of 3D World in 2021, but along with that came the most open-world title from the franchise in Bowser's Fury. And for those who've played Bowser's Fury, then you know it's not as collection heavy as Odyssey, but it's also not as episodic as Galaxy. They blended various aspects across the franchise while maintaining the gameplay style from 3D World, except now you have essentially an open world game with the focus on platforming. Every handful of cat shines you find unlocks access to the Gaiga Bell where you fight Bowser, which opens up new areas for you to explore. Mario has never been this open before, but I did feel this a bit in Odyssey. The Sand Kingdom and New Donk City are both huge in area and have plenty to offer between environmental challenges as well as classic platforming experiences. But Bowser's Fury opened the door for the franchise in what my opinion seems to be a test of what could be a future open world Mario game. Now, Mario has never been one to have a cohesive environment, and I'd say the closest to this could be in Sunshine, as each area is relative to Delfino Plaza, except that none of the areas are actually connected to the main hub. If you look at Odyssey or Mario 64, you'll notice each kingdom functions on its own with unique inhabitants, and there's clearly no plan to make the game connected by design. But in Bowser's Fury, even though each isle is accessible by water, it's very apparent that these are all just areas that are meant to offer different platforming challenges rather than function as one large world. Each of Odyssey's kingdoms do a great job on their own, but what could a Mario game look like that is a true open world? I believe Bowser's Fury is a taste of what's to come and really just an easier way to experiment using 3D World's game engine rather than releasing a full title as an open world. As I'm making this video, I realize I could be completely wrong, but the fun is in the speculation, and I speculate that between Bowser's Fury and the Mario movie that we could potentially see the first open world Mario. The Mario movie will display the full scale of the Mushroom Kingdom, and with Miyamoto helping with the development, I would not be surprised if they keep a lot of those ideas to use in the game. Plus, it would be a perfect time to market it. I imagine a game that's a hybrid of the openness of Bowser's Fury and the organicness of Odyssey's kingdoms. I think we may see an interconnected world of a 3D Mario that could look more like Paper Mario. You still have your separate areas such as the desert, the woods, the jungle, and whatever other obscure worlds they can muster up that bring the Mario to Mario. I think something I would absolutely love is some type of kingdom that is full of platforming challenges similar to the secrets of Mario Sunshine. Now, I know that would be impossible to happen if they truly are trying to keep an organic world that could have the Mushroom Kingdom as the main hub, but in Bowser's Fury, there weren't really any tubes that teleport you to another dimension, kind of like how in Odyssey you may find yourself in a variety of platforming challenges outside of the core kingdom. So to keep this world as believable as possible, they could connect these areas to the main hub as one seamless world and have platforming challenges mixed into the environments. Personally, I think there needs to be some classic styled areas such as the ones in Sunshine, as that's a part of the Mario brand, and without it, it could begin to fall down the wrong path by becoming an open world game that it doesn't need to be. Bowser's Fury did a great job with its semi-fulfilling collecting, as some of the challenges were enjoyable while others did become repetitive, but the pacing of collecting these cat shines was much better than the moons of Odyssey in my opinion. The list of mainline Mario games remains strong, with every feature being held to high standards, and I would expect the continuation of the franchise to continue its positive track with a consistent innovation. It all began with the traditional 2D platforming, then the 2D overworld map was created in Super Mario World, followed by the world premiere of the very first 3D game. This got followed up by Mario with the water jetpack, who just a few years later became Space Mario, before finding a hat that could take control of his enemies. So after hearing all of that, I don't think an open world Mario game sounds too far-fetched. The important thing is to have a fulfilling world rather than a vast empty world. But there's no true indication as to what's next for everyone's favorite plumber. However, I believe he's in safe hands with Nintendo and those overseeing his projects. So let's just hope we may see something sooner than later. What do you want to see in Mario's next installment? Would you prefer to see an open world, or maybe just a more classic experience more reminiscent of Super Mario World? Or do you want to see the return of PD Piranha? Because I know I do. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and please hit that like button and subscribe as I continue to expand on this channel. So until next time.